Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Football Manager 2019 with Zebu Nation. And today is a big day. We have our MLS season preview for the 2021 regular season. We're going to get started right away here. We're not going to mess around. You know, we've already done our preseason review, postseason. We know everything that happened up until now. So let's just talk about the future, talk about where we're going this season. Now, first of all, season preview, Major League Soccer champions, Cincinnati FC Cincinnati. Yes, that's the way you say it. Anyway, FC Cincinnati, we were, I guess, technically the champions last year. MLS Cup champions. We didn't win the Supporters' Shield, but hey, they're going to give us the championship. We'll take it. And we're up here at the top of the list when it comes to season preview this year. Take a look. Number one, once again, Atlanta United at 2-1 odds. They dipped a little bit last season, but now they're expecting Atlanta United to jump back up at the top of the league. Take a look at Atlanta, see what they got going on. Not a lot of people that we recognize. They got Escobar at central defense, still 26-year-old Argentinian, real good player. Of course, they still have Kiko in goal, 34-year-old Spaniard, also still very good, still valued at $4 million. Take a look at their transfer history, see what they've done this year. They have splashed the cash. That's what they've done this year. So first off, they picked up 3 players from their academy. Matt Wolverton, 17-year-old. You know, he's okay, I guess. Sergio Amenderes, another 17-year-old. Hot prospect midfielder. 14 tackling, 16 teamwork, so defensive midfielder type character. Adam Goodleaf, 18 years old. What is he? A fickle forward. Okay. Yeah, again, he's just sort of okay. Just guys to fill out the roster. And then 2 big signings, $11.25 million for Nicolas Blandi. 31-year-old Argentinian, valued at $8.25. So maybe you could say they overspent a little bit. He is a poacher, an experienced striker. Decent physicals. You know, good all around. Maybe his acceleration isn't that good for a poacher. But his off the ball is tremendous with a 17, 16 composure, probably 16 leadership as well, 15 finishing, you know. So this guy is a very, very capable forward. Is he worth $11.25 million? We'll see. We'll see how many goals he scores this year. And then $11.5 million for Fedor Smolov from Lokomotiv Moscow. 31-year-old Russian, valued at $6.25, so another guy they may be overspent for. 15 pace, 15 acceleration, very good physicals, very good well-rounded mentals, and pretty good well-rounded technicals as well. A nomadic striker, key player. So they picked up 2 strikers, interestingly. That's a lot of money to spend on strikers. Now, I understand, I get it. Like, if you got a team that can score a lot of goals, you just look at us last year. Last year we scored a lot of goals. Maybe Atlanta United looked at that and said, hey, we just need goal production, and that could win us the league. We'll see. But they also lost a lot. Lost in translation, especially on defense. The Perez, one of their best defenders, they let him go to Valise for $3.9, perhaps $4.9 million. That's a big blow to their defense. I mean, they've got a good defense, got a good goalkeeper, but still, to lose a guy like Perez, he's outstanding. Then they lost Fernando as well for $9.25 million, midfielder. They got, good price for him. He's valued at $8.75, but man, he's a good player. And so they lost defense, lost midfield, and replaced it with strikers. I don't know about that. They lost Darwin Lopez for $3 million to Junior, 29-year-old Colombian, one of their forwards. So that's the guy they had to replace. And then, of course, the big signing, Ezekiel Barca. We were wondering how long this guy was going to stay. And he stayed a long time. 3 years is pretty long for Barco to be staying at Atlanta United. Valued at $22 million now that he's over in Germany. But, Germany, the team Hamburg, they got a good price for him. $10.25 million, as much, maybe as much as $12.75 million. But, man, Barco's a good player. Good young player at that. So we'll see if they can replace that production with those two big signees they came in. Can either of these guys play wing? Yeah, Smolov can play out on the wing. How about Blondie? Sort of. He can play Raumdeuter on the left wing. Probably not. So he's probably going to be their striker. And then Smolov will probably be somewhere in the attacking midfield. We'll see. It's up to Atlanta United to use all that firepower, but they lost a little bit on defense and midfield. We'll see if they can recover. Up next, second place, LAFC, 7-2 odds. So a big drop. People are predicting Atlanta United by far. And then next is LAFC. They've got some familiar names here. Walker Zimmerman, Velasquez, Lima. Horta still there. Vela still there. Bobby Wood, they picked him up last year. Still there as a designated player. So they've still got some very good players. Tyler Miller on the bench. Latif Blessing. Christian Ramirez. Lee Wynn. They've still got sort of an all-star squad. Let's see who they picked up in the transfer window. Lots of players. Lots of players from their academy. They picked Tyler Miller back up in a free transfer. Drafted a couple players and then made one signing. David Terrens, $900,000. Let's take a look at this guy. 26-year-old Uruguayan. Valued at $2.7 million, so they got a good deal from him. Midfielder, looks pretty good. Physically, he's a little shaky, but technically very good. Mentally, also pretty good. He's got it where it counts. Vision, off the ball, flair. So he can be a good playmaker in the middle of the field for LA. And when you got all those guys up top who can score goals, it's good to have a playmaker. So, that's pretty good. Who did they lose? Not a lot. Not a lot. They lost Gaston Sarro to Montreal via the waiver draft. 31-year-old Argentinian center back. He's a replaceable dude, no problem. Louis Lopez to Nashville for $25,000. 27-year-old Honduran goalkeeper. So, he's replaceable. They picked up Miller. I'm sure this guy wasn't going to be their starter. So, it's fine. It's fine. And then they sent a couple guys out on loan. So, Los Angeles, they added a couple of pieces, but they didn't lose any pieces. Not like Atlanta, where Atlanta lost a bunch of dudes. LA just gained. Now, they're a bit of an older club. They do have some older players, especially their star players. But, one more run at it, one more season, they could definitely be a danger. And then, of course, FC Cincinnati in fourth. We know all about FC Cincinnati. Looking pretty good. Coach of the Year, Zebu Nation. They pretty much, they have us running the 4-4-2, which we don't usually run, but Aguirre, Glad, Wilson, Apia, that's interesting. They got Apia on the left-hand side, Akechi, Acosta, Sonura. I mean, Apia was like our first pick, I think, in the draft. Not first overall, but our first round pick. But I don't think he's going to be playing left wing. And then Adi and Przbilko up top. That would be an interesting combination, but we don't usually play them in combination. Anyway, yeah. That's us. We know who we are. We've already looked at ourselves. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I want to do. Next up, Seattle at 5-1. I guess with 5-1 odds, they merit a closer look. Christian Roldan is still there. He's playing right back still, according to these guys. Mark Anthony Kay is still there. 3 designated players up front. Ladero, Will-I-An, and Rudiez. So, looks like they stayed pat as well in terms of their top players. They do have some interesting guys on the bench. Let's take a look at their transfer history. So, let's see. They picked up a couple of guys on free from their academy, a couple of draft picks in the super draft, and then the one signing for $1.9 million, Luiz Araujo, 24-year-old Brazilian, valued at $3 million, so they got a bit of a deal for him. Got some speed and athleticism. Nice all-around mental game. Sort of average technically. You know, especially for a Brazilian, you think of them to be a little bit more technically sound than this fella. But, you know, for a midfielder, he's okay. You know, you want your midfield to be cerebral. And this guy's got, you know, some decent abilities. He's got some teamwork, some flair, decision-making. You know, he's all right. He's all right. Well-rounded. Not a guy with a lot of holes in his game. So $1.9 million is not too much to ask for that. Then they had a big signing, $4 million. John Cardona to Atletico Nacional, 26-year-old Colombian midfielder. I don't remember this guy playing last year. What did he do for them? Left wing. So Seattle got him on a trade. Played 12 games, and they loaned him out in 2020 to Atletico Nacional, and then Atletico bought him for $4 million. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I think that was the guy we looked at last year that said, they loaned him. You know, we didn't expect to see that loan because we don't see too many loans from MLS to, you know, big teams. So that's an interesting loan. Anyway, they got $4 million out of it. We'll see what Seattle can do with that. What's their registration looking like, by the way? 24 players, $3.8 million. They got 7 internationals. So it looks like they sold off an international slot. They do have all 10 off budget, so they're looking pretty good. They could squeeze a few more players into this roster, but probably not going to. So that's the top 4. And then there's a bit of a drop-off. L.A., New York, Houston, next at 20-1 odds. Take a look at Houston. They got a lot of the same players as well. Vladimir still in goal. Elise is there. Plata, Pena. What did they make in terms of moves? Transfer history, not a lot. Not a lot. 1 academy player and 3 super draft picks. They sold off a couple of guys. Fuenmayer for $950,000. 24-year-old Venezuelan. They had it $700,000, so they got a bit of a bargain on him. But yeah, so Houston mostly stayed pat. We'll see. We'll see if that works out for them. Then we go down. It drops from there 60-1. Real Salt Lake, San Jose, Toronto 70-1. Philadelphia 75-1. What are they looking like these days? Got a homegrown customer in defense. Oof, their roster looks a bit thin. Take a look at their registration. 23 players. Okay. Only 6 internationals. So they sold off several of their international slots, at least 2. 9 off budget, 6 reserve players. So it might be a bit of a rebuilding year. They still have Bedoya, Torres. I think they've only got 2 designated players. Take a look at their transfer history. They picked up Sean McDermott for $26,000. 27-year-old Norwegian. 16 one-on-ones, a goalkeeper. You know, he's okay. He's no Kiko or anything like that, but he's passable, I suppose. For $26,000, you know, he's a bargain, sure. Who'd they let go? Lama. They picked up Lama late last season, 33-year-old Belgian. They managed to get a little bit of value out of him, got $475K out of him. So you can't pass that up. They lost Mora to Tigres on a free, 19-year-old. 19-year-old Mexican. If this guy had any potential, then they lost out on some value. But if not, he's not great or anything like that. But yeah, we'd have to scout him to see. Yeah, you don't like to see a young player like that just leave on a free, unless you just know he's not going to get much better. And they had several waivers, so again, Philadelphia, you can kind of see why they dropped as well. They picked up draft picks, although they did pick up Martinez from Portland in probably the re-entry draft, 24 years old. Forward, 14 pace, 15 acceleration, 16 determination. He's a pretty decent player. Not going to win you any MLS Cups or anything, but, he's okay. But you can kind of see why they dropped. They weren't that high on the list last year, I don't think. And now they didn't really do a ton to improve themselves. Just got to hope that they get better in some way. Yeah, and then Vancouver, 200-1. FC Dallas, Sporting KC, Chicago. Colorado, New England, 800-1. I don't know about that. New England, they surprised a lot of people last year. They played very well. Turner in goal. Juninho, designated player on defense. Keschwetter's still there. Payet, Dimitri Payet, designated player, 33-year-old Frenchman, valued at $4.8 million. Physically, he's starting to go downhill a little bit. Still good technically, still good mentally. What'd they do transfer-wise? They picked up Will Ochoa in the draft. 23-year-old American forward. He's okay. Big guy, 6'3", 16 strength, so possibly a target man. 13 finishing, 11 heading. Okay. He could do a job as a reserve or something like that. And they had 3 draft picks, and there's Payet. All right, so they paid $7 million for Payet. Oof, I don't know. He's valued at 4.8. He's making $8 million a year. Bit of a stretch, I think, for a 33-year-old cultured attacking midfielder. We'll see. If he can, he's got flair, he's got vision, tremendous passing, first touch. Okay, so maybe I underrated this guy a little bit. You stick him in the middle of your formation, he could probably make quite a few plays. 14 finishing, 16 composure. Okay, I just looked at his physicals and went, get out of here. But, yeah, he's a good play. He's a very good playmaker. So, yeah, all right. I apologize, Dimitri. I apologize. And then they also picked up Juninho for $1.4 million. And he is 26-year-old Brazilian center back. He's that center back I said. And he's very solid. 15 strength, 14 jumping reach. Mentally he's fine. Technically he's also fine. 14 marking, 13 tackling, 13 heading. A lot of Brazilian players are like this, well-rounded, and Juninho is no exception. Well-rounded player. Who did they lose? They lost Michael Morton to waivers, 23-year-old, probably a draft pick of some sort, to the New York Cosmos, so he went down a level. And then Wilfred Zahibo they sold for $3 million, 27-year-old, another Frenchman. Midfielder, so they just replaced him with Payet. That's fine. Physically a downgrade, but technically and mentally an upgrade. So we'll see what that does for him. It hasn't impressed the critics, that's for sure. Has not impressed the critics who have given them, or the bettors in Las Vegas have given them 800-1 odds. Columbus 1,000-1, Minnesota 1,000-1, Orlando 1,000-1, and Montreal rounding it off, 1,000-1 odds. It's a lot of Eastern Conference teams hanging out at the bottom here. Montreal has Ezekiel and Bamboo as defensive designated players. And then they've given Piatti designated player slot, holding on at 36 years old. Time for Montreal, I think, to retool a little bit. They picked up several guys in the waiver draft. They picked up a lot of guys overall. Picked up Hopkins Caldwell Sorrow from LAFC, 31-year-old. Caldwell, 25. Hopkins, 24. Several academy players. Couple of draft picks. One guy from the IMG Academy. That's where a lot of Generation Adidas players come from. He's pretty good. You know, for a 21-year-old, he ain't too bad. Then they picked up Bernardo Long on a free, 31-year-old Uruguayan goalkeeper. 13 reflexes. He's okay. I don't know if he's starting quality, but he's okay. Let's take a look at Bambu. 23-year-old Brazilian, valued at $3.1 million. Very good physical. Center back. Good determination. 14 tackling, 14 marking, 14 heading is pretty good. I mean, this guy is a solid center back. 23 years old? Sure. Give this guy a designated player contract. Only $621,000 salary, so that's not bad at all. Ramos, 20-year-old Brazilian. Interesting. Pace, he's a midfielder. Long shooting. Passing, you know, pretty good. 14 vision, also another sort of playmaker ability. So they added some interesting pieces. It's a matter of how they put these guys together that will be interesting. You know, they picked up some older players, some younger players. We'll see what Montreal can do. If they can retool and finish better than bottom of the league, we'll see. They didn't really lose a heck of a lot. They lost Diallo on a free transfer, Pantami to NYCFC, and several players out on loan. So, I don't know. Are they going to finish bottom in the league? I doubt it. But we'll see. We shall see. Now, Dream 11. It's an interesting mix of players. Of course, Kiko in goal. Can't pass up on Kiko. He's still the best keeper in the league, even though we kind of torched him last year in the playoffs. But anyway, Coulson Haden, 22-year-old fullback from Vancouver, Englishman. Not familiar with him. 6 jumping reach as a wingback. Not my kind of dude. I would definitely not take this guy. Only 8 crossing. He's got a bad combination as far as I'm concerned. But Vancouver bought him last year for $9.25 million from Middlesbrough. Played 18 games, 2 goals, 6.7. You telling me this guy is going to be... Yeah, I don't know. I'll take Nuhu over this guy every day. Cabezas, 24-year-old center back from Dallas, valued at 2.7. Michael Bradley still holding in there, moving down to center back, valued at $3 million still. Remedi from Atlanta United. We know all about this guy. He's real good. He can play all over the place. Probably not going to play right back for Atlanta, I don't think. He's probably going to be in the midfield where he's much, much better. He only has 5 jumping reach. He's only 5'7". 18 work rate. How could you not put this guy in the midfield, honestly? So, whoever chose this Dream 11 has some work to do, I think. Eugene, oh boy, Canaplianca, 31-year-old winger from Chicago. Yeah, he's still okay. 17 flair. It's pretty good. 15 dribbling, 15 technique, you know. He's aight. Will he produce is the question. Like, what did he do last year at Schalke? 5 games. Meh, nothing. He's already played 1 game, has a 7.3 rating and an assist. So I guess he started out pretty good, but, you know, he's got to prove it to me. Jonathan Dos Santos in the midfield. Andre Horta for LAFC. Vieto for NYCFC. We know he's really good. Rudiez, also 30-year-old striker from Seattle. We know he's pretty good. And Smolov, we looked at him for Atlanta United. They're picking him. I don't know about this Dream 11. We'll see about these guys. Key players, of course, we got Acosta and Akechi as our key players. Blondie and Smolov. Columbus, Johnson and Zardes. Areola and Fagundes for DC United. Transfer history. What's their registration looking like here? Areola, Jusely. You know who I'm looking for. Wayne Rooney, there he is. Injured. Designated player. Okay. What's old Wayne looking like? 35 years old. Oh, Wayne. Look at those physicals. Get out of here. I mean, you know, mentally, technically still very good, but come on. He can hardly run down the field. Get out of here. Time to retire. Anyway, enough of that. DC United, get out of here. So, transfer activity. We looked at a lot of transfer activity. Let's see overall. What kind of year was it? Pretty good. I mean, that's a decent amount right there. Can we... I thought we could bring up like a list. Transfers. Yeah, there we go. Feet. What? Okay, I'm losing my mind. There it is. So, Smolov, of course, was number one on the list for $11.5 million. Quite a few big trades. Barco. So look at that. Atlanta United had the top 4 transfers. 2 in, 2 out. Top 4 value. And then Piet for New England. Colorado with a couple. They sold Hindeman and McKenna for $6.6 million and $5. Colorado must have so much money. Like, what are they doing with all that money? They have a ton of transfer money. Like, they're just hoarding. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they are paying Kellen Acosta, so that's good. But they only have one designated player. They've got so much money. Transfer history. Yeah, they spent $44,000 this year, so I don't know. Colorado is just funding their club at the moment with transfers. I don't know that that's the greatest business idea in MLS, but we'll see. I mean, not every owner is Arthur Blank. You know what I'm saying? Not every owner is a billionaire. So some people gotta run their club like an actual business. We'll see. Anyway, good number of transfers. We had the second lowest transfer, picking up Mr. Arsenal for $10.75K. The lowest was Lautaro Menendez to Philadelphia, or from Philadelphia to Phoenix for $5.25K. Goalkeeper, 14 aerial reach. I mean, this guy is a very good second division keeper. Yeah, I mean, maybe very good at stretching it. We'll say he's a capable second division keeper. So that's fine. That's fine. So that's what happened in the offseason in a nutshell. I think it was a good offseason. Again, there's lots of money being spread around. Do we have trades in here? Look at trades. How do we organize these? Lots of trades. Anyway, look at all these trades. Very happy things have picked up in the last few seasons in terms of transfers and trades. Lots of money being spread around all over the place. Lots of draft picks. So this makes me happy. This makes me, it makes the league look more healthy and vibrant and interesting. I mean, look at all this general allocation money, $3.8 million. Where's Colorado? That's what I want. Where's Colorado? Can we do a sort there? No, we do a sort. Colorado. All right. They have so much. They got more allocation money from New York for Aaron Arnold and Dylan Cerna. I don't know what Colorado's doing with all this money. I just remember last year they picked up a ton of money. They sold a bunch of players, picked a ton of money, and they've done it again this year. So I don't know. Let's try an experiment here. Let's trade Colorado. Add general allocation money. How much? 10 million. 10 million in general allocation money. You can't trade general allocation money for general allocation money. Okay. 1.2 in targeted. Will they accept that? No. Okay. So Colorado's got a war chest. It just depends on will they actually spend any of it. I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at the schedule here. We've got Sporting Kansas City. First home game. It's on television in our new stadium. Let's get to the match preview. Why not? Wearing the special checkerboard Mercy Health Systems jersey today. We are 6-4 favorites over Sporting KC. See this jersey right here? I actually have one of these. I have one of these replica Sporting KC jerseys. I've got a friend who lives in Kansas City. Went there, visited him, drove by the one of the sports shops in town. It wasn't the actual one that's in the stadium. Drove by the stadium, but it was like the off season. So anyway, picked up one of these replica jerseys from Sporting KC. So that's, I think, the only soccer jersey that I own. There you go. Random Sporting KC jersey. Let's see. I should buy one of the... I almost bought one of the new Cincinnati jerseys. I probably should. They're not bad. I like them. They've got interesting vertical stripes on them, but the vertical stripes, I think, might be a little hard to see in the... when they're out on the field playing, because the stripes are like, what's that term where gradient? It's gradiated, right? So it goes from like dark to light, and it I don't know. It's not like a solid stripe anyway. So they're okay, but I might buy one. I'd buy one of these, I think, but they don't sell those anymore. Anyway, I'm just babbling now. Let's look. Icapara is ineligible. That's no good for them. Espinosa, Crosette is out. That's also pretty bad. We've got Alashe, and Mark Smith is unregistered. He's one of our Generation Adidas players. We had a little trouble getting under the registration. I guess we could look at our registration real quick. We actually had to cut a few players, a couple of our youngsters from the roster due to MLS registration. And we also had to leave a guy out. Mark Smith, Generation Adidas player. Had to leave him out. I mean, he's probably going to go on loan soon anyway to Atlanta United or Rio Grande. But, I would have left Hudson out too, but Hudson got injured just before registration day. And they wouldn't let me leave him off, so I had to cut an extra guy. Anyway, neither here nor there. Neither of those guys were of any real effect to the roster. It just kind of shows you that even an experienced player manager like myself can get caught on deadline day, on roster registration day, and just say, well, nobody wanted any of these guys on loan. I don't know what happened since one of the recent updates is suddenly players don't go out on loan anymore. So I don't know what's going on. I even tried to send players to my affiliate in North Carolina, and North Carolina's roster is full, so I couldn't send anybody to North Carolina. And it was a real bummer. But anyway, here's our registration. 30 players, 4.207 under the cap. So I've had to spend a few bucks of the general allocation money, probably like $1.5 million to get under this salary cap. We got 8 internationals, 2 designated players. Still looking for that 3rd designated player possibility. I don't know if we really have the budget for him, but we're always on the lookout. 10 off-budget players, 4 non-reserve off-budget players. Only 1 reserve player, so we could sign some more rookies or whatever, but don't necessarily need them. Sign some more of our homegrown players, but we don't need them either, so there you go. Why re-register again? I don't know. Let's get to our team selection. How about that? Yeah, there we go. It's not the starting roster that you might expect. We've got a few guys who are tired after our last game, so we're going with this lineup here. We, of course, have Stefan in goal. Nuhu at left back. Blackman starting at right back. Richards and Patrick Lee, the youngster from our academy, starting at central defense. Basically, Richards and Lee are both physically fit and match fit. So we're throwing them in there just to give our central defense pairing, our normal starters, giving them a rest. Philippe, he's not suspended. He's only suspended for Champions League, so he's playing today. Acosta, De Vries, Crispum, Sonora. Oh, by the way, we've dropped Acosta down to the midfield because Akechi played last game and he's tired. So that let us put Crispum up at attacking midfield, and then, of course, Adi up top. We got several of these guys who are not match fit. Sonora's not match fit. De Vries. Who else? Philippe, I think, is a little unfit. So, yeah, we've had issues this offseason. It's not been a good offseason. I guess I could have looked at their team. We'll take a look at their team real quick. Knowles in goal. Warshaw, Lindsay at the fullback position. Rivas and Long. Long can apparently... No, we're doing stuff to him. Anyway, Bucio and Gutierrez in the midfield. Fernandez, Russell. Who's this? Rafael Longuin. I don't think that's how you spell that or how you pronounce that. Anyway, he's their team captain. We should probably learn how to pronounce that. And then Nemeth still up top. All right. Are we going to close down on any of these guys? Russell, what are you doing? Yep. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Get to the tunnel. Send the assistant. Get out of here. First game at new Cincinnati FC Stadium. Look at it. Look at the blue. There's not enough orange in the stadium, unfortunately. It is snowing a little bit. Crowd in white. We're wearing the white jerseys today. Sporting KC in their dark blue. And there we go. We're on key highlights. All right. Key highlights is fine. We did that whole first half of the video, so we don't need, an hour-long video. It's fine. It is totally fine. So, yeah, we're in our new stadium. We're going to have sellouts pretty much every game. I forgot to look at the attendance. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, yeah. Happy about the new stadium. Happy about the new season. Ready to get started. We are playing the other save right now. We're playing with the Seahorses, but we're going to continue to do FC Cincinnati as well. Nuhu throws one in. Richards, please go get the ball. Thank you. Please don't turn it over. Double thank yous. Gets it to Blackman, and Blackman's going to start the attack. Here we go. Sonora, not match fit, but he doesn't turn it over. Gets it back to Philippe. They're playing a bit of a pressing game here. We might want to boot it forward a little bit. Acosta, let's see what he can do with it. He chips it on to Adi. Adi heads it. Nobody there. Not a tremendously authoritative header, but, putting a little pressure on the goal. It's never bad. Richards wins the header to Acosta. To De Vries. To Crispum. Great movement. Crispum takes the shot and scores. Look at that. Attacking midfielder. The 5-Star Potential podcast, they just did a whole special on number 10s. And here we are, first game of the year. Crispum, our number 10, bashes it. Now, we have 3 number 10s on this team, so it's hard for one of them not to score, honestly. But, when you look at Acosta, he plays there, Crispum, and Akechi, they all play at number 10 for us. So, the question is, are those players naturally better because they play the position, or do you just put your naturally best player at that position, right? I think it's more of the latter than the former. As I think that, most teams will just, if you want your best player to have the ball most often, and the easiest place to get him the ball is that number 10 role, because he's right in the middle of the formation. Everybody can look to him. Everybody can pass to him. The strikers can pass back to him. Wings can pass in. Everybody else can pass up to him. So, why not put your best player there? And that's why we have Acosta there. Although you could say Akechi's our best player, but, we have a wealth. We have an overabundance of riches at that position, and the first half is over that quick. As I babble on about our midfield. 8 shots, 5 on target. It's not bad for one half. 7 fouls apiece. 48% possession. It's all right. I don't think we need to make any real strategic changes. We got the 1-goal lead. Happy with your performance. Keep it up. The old pep talk. Here we go. Second half. It also seems that this version of the game, with here's De Vries sending one in on the corner, headed out to Philippe. He knocks it over. With the propensity of goals, long shot goals in this version of the game, I think that also lends to the number 10 being a little bit more important in FM19. I mean, you saw Acosta had 10 goals last year from the attacking midfield position. Akechi had however many he had. And, Crispum, he only played sort of half the season, and he still had 5 goals last year. So it's, it's a little bit of, having good players in the position, and also the game, unlocking the ability to shoot long goals. Because last year's game, it's you didn't even want to shoot. It was maybe a 1 in 10 chance you would even get the ball on net. So, anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Just trying to fill airtime, I guess. Crispum, he's got 3 men on him. How about a pass, buddy? There you go. Gets it to Acosta. Philippe is open. Gets it forward. Crispum again. Going to take the shot again. Going to score again. It's the magic spot. I mean, if you can get a guy there and shoot the ball, you're going to get a lot of goals. I don't know what to tell you. Whoever I put in that position, if they can get here and shoot, they're good. I mean, that was a nice shot. Let's take a look at Crispum. What's his long shooting? I'm going to say 10. Long shots, 10. So a guy with 10 long shooting suddenly has 2 goals from, 20, 25 yards. Anyway, De Vries, free kick. Scores. So it's suddenly 3-0. Outstanding. As, how many seasons in, I'm still talking about the match engine. Nice. I've also heard on other podcasts people still complaining about the match engine. And to me, it just kind of is what it is. I take it year by year, and I just sort of roll with it. It's kind of like when I used to play NCAA football. That's the only other game I can really compare this to, because it's the only other game that I played that's iterated year by year. Crispum gets it forward to Adi. Adi shoots one wide. And it was kind of the same thing with NCAA football. Sometimes running the ball would be really difficult, so you had to pass more, and vice versa. And sometimes, defense was really good, so you just beefed up on your defense and tried to win defensive games. And it's sort of, it's a couple of different things. Like it's the developers listening to the fans, and the fans saying it's too hard to run this year, make it easier to run next year. Or in this game, it's too hard to make long shots, make it easier to shoot long shots. There's another long shot in. Saloy gets one past. Gets one back. 3-1. Fernandez. So we should probably keep track this year and see how many goals come from outside the box. There's Saloy, bang, and just couldn't get there. But yeah, so the developers, I think they listen to feedback, but also, look, they've gone 4-2-4. But also, it's like trends in the game. You know, they watch the game and they pay attention. I'm sure they have all kinds of stats. There's a cheeky little pass to Acosta. Acosta splits the defense, takes it out wide. He's got some overlap, sends it into Crispin with his third goal. Crispin with the hat trick. Onside. Great play from Acosta. Just weaving his way through traffic. Should we telestrate this one? Nah. You can see it for yourself. There is Crispin on the overlap. Again, Adi playing the screener in the middle of the field. And Crispin gets the goal. That's another thing when we have that big target man up front. He does screen a lot for those guys. And that's another way to get a lot of goals. Camacho heads one in. So we got about 15 seconds left in the game. I'd say this is a pretty successful debut for our new stadium, for our new season. 4-1. Seems to point to good things to come. 16 shots, 8 on target, 9 fouls to 12, 50% possession at the end of the match. 4-1. Can't beat that with a stick. Crispin, of course, player of the match with a hat trick. That's 3 games in a row now we've had a player with a hat trick. Silverbacks. And what am I talking about here? Oh my God, I blanked completely. Champions League game. Wow. North American Champions League. I can't believe I couldn't remember that. Anyway, it's a little late at night. But yeah, Przbilko had 2 hat tricks in a row. And now we got a third hat trick from Crispin. How many hat tricks can we get this season? I don't know. We'll see. Well done. Good win. Let's go. Pep talk. Christopher Richards, 82% passing from defense. You know, we had Lee on defense, and he played well. 7.7 rating. That's pretty good. Everybody played really well. Even Stefan had a 7-0 in goal after letting that one in. Only Adi had a below 7 rating at 6.7, basically because he was just a decoy all game. Pretty good. We'll take it. So up next, looks like we've got Minnesota and Philadelphia away, LA, Toronto, Chicago at home. Yeah. Does it show the crowd? 23,000. 6-7. I'm not happy about that. Home debut and we don't even sell out the stadium. That doesn't sound like FC Cincinnati at all. Not happy about that one bit. But anyway, we're going to come back. Who should we come back for? LA? The Galaxy? Sure, we don't play them on camera too much. The only time we're going to play them this year, I assume, unless we see them in some sort of cup game or playoffs or something like that. So yeah, we'll come back for LA Galaxy. You know, in the meantime, we got a bunch of Champions League to worry about. So we're going to end it here and come back. It'll probably be a Champions League video next. But until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.